Welcome to the On the Brain podcast. I'm your host, John, with my co-hosts Tanner, Anthony, and Jacob. Thank you for joining us for episode 3. We will be discussing creative flow and how we stay motivated in our day-to-day lives with school, work, hobbies, and just getting through life. I wanted to preface with a distinction between creative and artistic ability. That way we are all aware and the audience is aware of the difference. For creative ability, I'd like to define it as using your imagination to create and solve, while artistic ability is using skill and talent to create fine works of art. It's a little more specific towards products over process, I think, but that's also another debate to get into. But with that said, let's go.
The brain.
So first, creativity in our lives. I wanted to ask you all how you incorporate creativity into your life and give me some examples.
So in my life, I like to draw. I like to play music. I have a guitar and I play piano. Like today, I was just kind of letting my emotions out on my guitar, turn the amp way up and the gain super loud. So I was just really just trying to feel the emotion in the music that I was creating. And that kind of helps me clear my mind a lot. So I think when I'm trying to be creative, my first step is usually trying to just get everything onto the page, kind of like a word dump when you're writing, except I don't really write a lot. I usually typically like draw. So like, let's say if I draw, like I typically just like scribble all over the page and do like stick figures just to try to get my mind flowing.
So then, Tanner, that makes me wonder, like, how does it make you feel when you perform these kind of activities? Because, like, from my point of view, I'm not as much into like drawing or music. But I just want to know kind of the root of your creative mind and what makes you kind of draw towards these kind of actions.
Basically, whenever I'm stuck or like in a rut, or I feel myself not really moving anywhere, I just need to just do something. Sometimes I get caught up in the space of like, oh, I need to create something, right? But I feel like a part of being creative is just the doing aspect of it. And when you're doing, you eventually find something that is worth creating. And so by having these little jam sessions with myself or drawing sessions, I'm able to sift through my thoughts and really think about what I want to be doing instead of getting worried about what I should be doing.
That was beautiful.
Thanks. What do you do, Anthony?
So how I like to incorporate creativity in my life, and like I said, I'm probably not as stereotypical. I've never been much of a drawer or music listener, but I think we all have creativity that comes out in our own personal lifestyles. And for me, I think it's a lot to do with like social interactions, just the way I talk to people or approach people. The way I talk to people and approach people just led me to a different kind of lifestyle or outlook onto it. I think just I'm naturally like a more lighthearted, comedic kind of person. And I think that's where my creativity shines out. And I think, it's just from all this absorption that I have from different forms of media, whether it be like different shows or music or video games, Twitch, whatever it is. It's like it absorbs these different kind of personalities, personas, and you kind of take bits and pieces of it all and blend it into one. And I think for me, like I'm much more of a social kind of person, and I find it a lot more fun to just be creative with people.
Yeah, I see that, especially when it manifests through your interest in board games. It's a creative tool that you use to bring people together, right?
Totally. Like even like a game, and I think the most clearest example of this would be like Werewolf, the game where it's probably one of the most social based games. And I love to moderate that kind of game and just have a creative flow on it, tell a fun story, just get people involved in it.
Yeah, I would agree. You're a great storyteller.
Please go on.
Yeah, I definitely think interacting with people is a big part of creativity, because you're not only drawing inspiration from yourself at that point, you're also feeding off of other people's energy, which can be really helpful.
Yeah. Jacob, what about you?
So creativity, I feel like creativity is such a broad word, where it's like you guys talk about it in a much more, I know we separated the difference between creativity and like an artistic sense and that way, but in my sense, I'm not very like an artistic person. Like I don't go out of my way, like I don't draw, I don't make music. Probably the closest thing I do to that is like, I've been learning HTML and CSS. So it's fun kind of like creating web pages and like styling them, trying to figure out like how to get that to work. But that's less, I guess, like an artistic ability. And what I'm trying to get at is more of like problem solving. Like I love problem solving. Like all you guys know here, like I like puzzles. Like, in high school, I'd sit down in class, and instead of paying attention to what the teacher's saying, some boring stuff, I pull out like a Sudoku book and I start doing that during class for a couple of hours.
Or Tetris.
Oh yeah, Tetris too. Like I just love problem solving, and like that's why I like video games so much, like more complicated video games, because it has a lot of like problem solving and trying to be creative in your approach to certain problems. And that's where I
agree.
Try and get my creativity. It's really good time.
Yeah, so like the mental kind of exercise for it, you're kind of different, because those kind of games that you're describing each require like a different kind of creative answer to it all, whether it be Sudoku or Tetris. And I mean, it's crazy. You mentioned how you enjoy these creative, kind of strategy-based games, but have never once seen you want to play Valorant with me.
Hey, Valorant. I played Valorant. All right, Valorant is not even really creative. It is technical skill that I do not have.
Sure. Okay, no, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I thought, my bad. Hey, you said it, not me. You said it, not me.
Got something to say to me, chum?
I think there's a big difference between structured creativity and free-form creativity. And so like more of what I was saying about, making music, I feel like it's more of like a free-form creativity. And what Jacob was talking about is more structured, where you have like a set of rules, and he likes to figure out and exploit those rules to figure out the best outcome. And that in itself, Anthony said, is a mental exercise of creativity. And
Exactly.
I think that's really cool.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, like I'm not a creative person. I don't feel like I could do anything like create something like artistically, but it's like I do enjoy like problem solving in that sense.
Yeah, that preface with the difference between creative ability and artistic ability was to distinguish that artistic ability mostly involves applying structure to your creativity to create an end result. And I think that everyone has the potential to be creative in different ways. And I do see it in all of you. And I agree. It's something where Tanner likes to express his creativity using music or drawing. And if you apply forms of structure, you can then create things like songs or finished drawings. And I would even agree with the statement that, Jacob, you are artistically creating a website if you start coding one and then finish and have an end product. You can definitely apply creative thinking and problem solving into your life and then develop it and hone it and craft a skill that you can apply.
Yeah.
Jacob, I'm curious of, how do you fare in a game like Minecraft, where it's almost limitless with how creative it can be? It's very open world-esque. And how does a game like that compare to you when it comes to just the building aspect of it or creative aspect of that kind of game?
So the thing with the game like Minecraft is like I struggle with the game like Minecraft because I do like having objectives in my game and like your approach to figuring out these objectives. The problem with Minecraft is the difficulty is not that high, while also it's like your overall objectives aren't like, they're not super hard to attain. So, I think a lot of people could agree with this, that you just sit down and play Minecraft for like a week and then you're just kind of over it. And I'm the same way. Like I enjoy like building a house, that's cool and all, but like my main objective is like I want to kill the Ender Dragon, I want to get the Wither, I want to get all the cool stuff. Give me that netherite armor. But it's like once you reach that and once you have everything you want, then it's just kind of like, okay, well, now I don't feel like playing it. That's usually how it goes.
Well, I think that in Minecraft, there's so much to do. Like for me, whenever I play Minecraft, I typically don't do survival. I try to do on creative mode, which
You're crazy.
cleverly
You're crazy.
named.
Yeah,
no,
I can't do creative.
I like playing with the redstone because I think the redstone unlocks an entirely new side of Minecraft because you're literally able to make like circuits and logic gates within it.
Which Gigabrain out here, you redstone engineer. Well, you gonna make a computer in Minecraft out here?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Are
that
you
crazy.
excited for wireless redstone?
Is that a thing? I didn't know.
It's coming out in June. They are releasing sound sensitive detectors. When you walk near them, they send a wireless signal to others, so you can create wireless
Wi-Fi
systems.
in Minecraft.
That's so sick. Yeah, but like I go into creative because I like to figure out like a system that I can implement into my house. So say like, oh, if I want, all of my lights to be connected or something, I figure out like the best way possible. And then when I play in survival, it's more that challenge and I create my own objectives. I could say like, oh, can I recreate what I did in creative inside of survival? So that's kind of how I stay interested in Minecraft.
Yeah, I think I definitely would lean more on the Tomato Jacob side of things, where Minecraft almost has too many options. Where I want there to be kind of more of a goal in mind. Like I can only play Minecraft literally for like 2 sessions before I'm like, okay, I did all the stuff I wanted to do.
Yeah. And that's what I think's cool about our dynamic, the 4 of us, is that I feel like me and Anthony are on one end where like we like certain set things, while like John and Tanner are on the other end where they're very like fully creative people and like to do all these like musical things and artistic things, which I think's cool in terms of.
Well, John, I guess technically, John, we didn't hear your response. How do you incorporate creativity in your life?
Yeah, so I like to balance it out in a few ways. I am very visual in terms of my learning and how I like to express myself. So there's a lot of drawing and painting involved, and photography and video. And then I'm fascinated with sound as well. So I explore sonic landscapes with my modular synthesis and stuff. So I divide it up between audio visual outlets for expressing my creativity. And then I'm still learning how to apply structure so that I can eventually have an artistic product. But I still think there's also a difference between product and process for both creativity and art as well, because you have things like performative arts where you dance or perform in theater, stuff like that. And it's more about witnessing the experience. And I also want to get more into that as well, expressing myself in a way that has to be experienced. And live music is a way of doing that, or live streaming music. But I'm still figuring it out. Well, what happens when you guys run into something like creative block? For you, Tanner, what's something that you experience in your life that gets in your way?
Oh, geez. I think creative block hits me at every turn it can. Basically, in school, it's like, oh, okay, I have to come up with some sort of project, and then it's like, nope, just completely blank. Or maybe I'll sit down because I'm like, oh, I want to draw, and then I'll just sit there and it's like literally just staring at a page for like 20 minutes. And it can be the most frustrating thing because you feel the need to create and yet you can't, and then you're almost like letting yourself down. And so some ways I combat that is kind of like what I was saying earlier. You just try, you just start. Because eventually when you start something, even if it's crap, like I have a sketchbook and like probably 75% of that sketchbook is just literally like scribbles and horrible drawings that I would never show anyone. But that is what helps me get through it. Because when you know your kind of limits, you're able to kind of surpass them. So like say, okay, I can't think of anything. I'm just going to try and I get something out. And then if it's bad, then I know that's the worst I can do. And so by kind of just keeping up with that, if I can produce some garbage once a day, then eventually I'm going to produce something beautiful.
You can refine it. Yeah. Jacob, with, programming and learning to code, I know that you have to come up with creative solutions all the time to solve problems. There's a million ways to solve an answer and to create something and have it work a certain way. How do you deal with that creative block?
Honestly, like in terms of creative blocks, like I it's kind of like what Tanner says with just like it's helpful just to throw like anything on the page that you think would help, like just anything you think of, because there are some diamonds in the rough that you notice and you could grow from like that idea into something better. Also something else that I usually do, just because it's really easy, is just walk away. Just walk away. Like, usually just a nice little break, like go to the bathroom, go eat a meal, watch some anime for a couple of hours, maybe a lot longer than a couple of hours. But when you come back, you feel much more refreshed, and like you could definitely look at the problem again, and you're just like, okay, like I have a better head on my shoulders. And I feel like when you're in creative block, you just get so frustrated. It's like a cycle over and over again. Like you're just annoyed you can't figure something out. You keep on trying to figure it out. You can't figure it out, and it's just a cycle. And
it feeds into itself.
You just don't get anywhere. Yeah, it's very frustrating. But yeah.
Anthony, what about you?
Yeah, totally. I saw this TED Talk that applies directly to what we're talking about right now, and I can't remember the title of it, but it was pretty much about, kind of procrastination and creativity. Talking about this study of people who are working on a project and comparing how much creativity their solution was given how much they procrastinated. And what they found is, the people who got the project done right away and the people who waited till the very last minute did about the same amount of creativity. The people who did it right away didn't give their brain enough time to absorb the information, and the people who waited till the last minute were so pressed for time that they just rushed to get something completed. But there's this middle ground of people who can procrastinate a good amount, where your mind absorbs the information enough and is able to reproduce something more tangible and creative in the end. So I think that is pretty much my mindset in a lot of things. I will say that is my biggest weakness as a human being, is procrastination. So I might take this, advice a little bit too much sometimes. But I do like to just kind of step away, give my brain time to absorb information, whether it just be going on hikes or runs or, trying to do something not as where your brain can relax more. I want to do something where my brain can relax more. So maybe instead of video games, I'll like to go for a hike or a run, just something where I'm just thinking the whole time, and I can let my brain think about different topics.
It's interesting that you brought up that TED Talk, because lately I've been taking a biology class, and it's a lot of information packed into every week. And I've been trying the Pomodoro technique of working for 25 minutes, taking a 5-minute break, working for 25 minutes, giving my full attention, and then small breaks to kind of ease, and then every so often a longer break. And also the whole idea of procrastinating and pushing things off, but not to the point where you're doing everything last minute. I think combined, it's been helping me retain all of this information that I'm learning better, and also understanding it fundamentally and how it all applies, which is really interesting. So I definitely agree. I think it works.
Yeah, I think taking breaks is definitely the biggest thing.
So for me, one of the things that I like to do to combat creative block is to try new things, and not necessarily within the same field of what I'm trying to do. So I will be working on a piece of music and I'm struggling to find inspiration or creativity to enhance it or to push forward. So I'll drop the music entirely and switch genres, so to speak. I like to keep it fresh and switch things up. And that lets me apply my creativity in new ways to other things and work on other projects at the same time. And that helps me stay doing things, but, not always focusing on that one thing that I can't get through. And Jacob was talking about that cycle, and I agree. It's something that everyone falls into, a vicious cycle of not being able to get the thing done that you're working on. So, Anthony, I saw that you brought a drink today. Tell us what you brought.
Yeah. So I'm not much of a caffeine drinker. I don't drink coffee. But when I do want to have coffee, or when I do want to have caffeine, I should say, I will usually drink tea. But today I got a kombucha that was made in San Luis Obispo, which is where I'm from. And my roommate actually did a commercial with Whalebird, the company that made this particular kombucha bottle.
Mm-hmm.
He did a commercial for them, and they gave him like a free case of kombucha. So he let me have one of them. But it's pretty cool. The company's called Whalebird. They have 30 milligrams of coffee, and I don't know how much that means or is. I don't know if one of you guys can teach me a little bit about that.
30 milligrams of caffeine.
30 milligrams.
So like a Red Bull can, the small one, is 80 milligrams.
Okay.
It's a good amount, but it's not too much. Is it your first time trying kombucha?
I've had kombucha in the past. I never really particularly enjoyed it, but this one I do enjoy. Maybe it's just the temperature. I think I've had kombucha more at more room temperature, and this one's a little colder, which I do enjoy. But it has a black tea base, grapefruit essential oils, and I think it's pretty tasty.
Ooh.
My sister drinks a lot of kombucha, and I've tried it once. My mother also makes it, and I did not like it, so I do not drink it. But I'll probably try it again and give it another go eventually, because I know it is good for you and has many benefits to drinking.
Yeah. And today it felt like a great day for me to have some because, like I said, I don't drink coffee too often unless I really need to, and I do have to get some more work done later today. And I got like 4 hours of sleep last night.
Oh no,
so that was not fun. But Tomato, I mean, last week you came out swinging with a banger of a drink. I'm sure this week you brought something.
You know it, brother. All right, so my kick-ass drink for the week, you won't believe it. It is from the wonderful establishment of Starbucks. You would think it'd be alcohol, but no, it would not, because I do not like alcohol. But basically, little tidbit about my life, I work at Starbucks. And something else, I do not like coffee. So working at Starbucks has been an interesting experience. So they always tell me, hey, you should just try the drink. So if a customer asks about it, you can recommend something. So usually after work, I grab a random employee. I say, hey, just give me whatever you recommend. And so today, shout out to the boy Cody. He gave me this drink. It is an iced white mocha with extra no and foam. And let me tell you, I've had a lot of drinks. This one is the best one I've had so far. So if any of you listening, go hit up your local Starbucks and get this drink and tell me what you think.
I am going to have to redact the recipe because you are making the TikTok drink that is currently causing so many problems.
I know. That's what they said. They're like, this is a TikTok drink. And then I had it, and then I'm like, this is actually really good.
I'm sure it is, but every single person under the sun orders it every single day.
Dude, I have not had someone get this, actually. But yeah, we got a lot of TikTok drinks, and they're always so fucking complicated. I just look at it, and I'm like, why?
I just imagine you, go into Starbucks one day, maybe with your girlfriend's parents one day, and you're just like, yeah, can I get a white mocha with an extra caramel pump?
Dude, that's how they know I'm in there, man. I'm a man of culture. I worked at Starbucks.
For me, I'm just drinking water today. Nothing exciting.
Hey, no, you got to pump it up. What's so special about that water, man?
Yeah, what's the pH balance?
I have this cup full of hydrogen and oxygen. And what's so fascinating
Yeah,
about these
yeah.
hydrogen bonds is that they're really weak. So they're constantly forming and breaking. And it causes this substance to always appear to be moving, almost as if it's a liquid. And your body needs it. It's essential.
Where's this water from?
My faucet. Well,
Your
not
faucet.
a faucet, a fridge dispenser. So who knows? It could have fluoride in it. It could have
Damn
pee.
right.
I don't know. It could be recycled from our house.
Nice.
All right, Tanner, you have to follow that up. What gangster drink are you drinking today?
I'm sticking with the theme. I'm sticking with the theme of caffeine, except there's no caffeine in what I'm drinking, because I'm drinking decaf coffee
Wow.
from this local
Okay.
roaster called Cat and Cloud, located in Santa Cruz downtown. You should go check it out. They have some amazing blends, and so I bought their Friend Zone decaf, and this is my first decaf coffee, and it is fantastic. Typically, decafs are a little washed out because of the extraction process of the caffeine, but this one has very clean floral flavors, and it's just really enjoyable rather than having those dark, rich, nutty flavors. It's kind of a nice alternative.
What's it called again?
It is called Cat and Cloud Friend Zone.
Interesting. It might be something that I'm able to try. I don't drink much caffeine, but it sounds interesting. I'll have to check it out. So, on to our next topic. I wanted to ask you all how you apply structure to your life in the context of routines that you use, things that you use to keep yourself on track, basically.
Oof. Google Calendar.
Oh boy, brother.
Saves my life, dude. I used to not schedule at all. And recently there was this big old boom with Bujo journals, I think is what they're called. And it's basically those journals with dots instead of lines, so you can be a little more creative with the page. I tried that out, but basically it's a lot of like drawing and designing each page. So I didn't have time for that. I would do it like in class, and then that would distract me from the class. So I stopped doing that. I tried a few other things. I tried just putting reminders on my phone, but I would never set new reminders. But when I found Google Calendar, you can set things to reoccur, which was so nice. And so I was able to block out my sleep schedule, my work schedule, my streaming schedule, the podcast schedule, everything, and it's all laid out so nice, and it's really just saved my life.
It helps you focus and know what you have time for, right? If you want to
Exactly.
break, you know how long you have until the next thing you got to get started on. Yeah, I like calendars, and it's something I started using too recently. Jacob, what about you?
So I'm gonna break the theme here. I know John and Anthony haven't answered, but I know what Anthony's rough answer is going to be, and it's going to be the same as Tanner. It's probably going to be about some Google Calendar. I see that, Anthony. You just flipped me off, but okay. Anyway, my way of structuring my life is it's a really funny question because I don't structure my life because basically ever since high school I have just stopped caring about what I do on a daily basis. I just kind of go through everything and I know what I need to do in a day. I just kind of do it whenever I want to, and then sometimes I get to it, other times I don't. But it's pretty rough, you know. It's like because some days you miss out on things you probably shouldn't have. But
The art of chaos.
yes, it works. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you know, it
There you
sometimes
go, leaving it
works
up
for
to
me.
chance. Anthony, what about you?
Yeah, man. So, I mean, I don't really think any of you guys know where I'm gonna go with this. Can't really. It's kind of ballpark. Don't know. Kind of obscure. Not sure if you guys heard of this, but I guess to give you a little intro is in my free time, I also give tours for the college I go to.
Ooh.
I am an engineering ambassador, is what you call it, and
Fancy.
pretty much, you know, when people come to the school, I give tours, you know, talk to incoming students, and you're pretty much just, you know, talking about the campus, talking about college, talking about whatever they want to talk about. But one of the things I the questions that I hear a lot is, how do you balance everything? What do you use to organize? And literally, I cannot imagine my life without Google Calendar in a bunch of different ways. I mean, I used to, put in everything, like, yeah, I'm going to sleep at this time and all this, but I thought that was a little too much maybe, but I just put all like the big stuff opposed to free time. But I easily could, but definitely like my work schedule, my class schedule, podcast schedule, and just big events, even that are just coming up in the future. Like if I have a friend who says, oh, I have this weekend off in 2 months, can you be free? Like, boom, that goes into my calendar and I know, and I can tell you what I did 3 months ago at this date at this time.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It's just really satisfying to see all of it laid out like that.
My problem is I agree to everything. So this Google Calendar sounds nice because there's a lot of times where I'm just like, I mindlessly say yes to people, and all of a sudden I have 3 different plans on the same day and I have to start breaking some news to some people.
Playing a few games with a few different people.
Yep. It's happened.
I mean, there's definitely a balance. You don't want to be too structured. I don't like to be too structured, in the sense where I can't just have something in the spur of the moment just go somewhere. That's why I say I don't put in literally everything. I don't put in when I'm going to go to sleep or when I'm going to play video games, kind of thing. Just the stuff I know I can't get moved.
Yeah. So I also use the calendar. It's a very structured tool, and I didn't start using them.
I haven't heard about it. Tell me about it.
It tells you that there are a specific amount of days in a week and how many weeks are in a month and how many months are in a year. And I never thought that it would help me plan things as well as it does. And I only started this year, and it's been super helpful. You always put your work schedule in your calendar or whatever, so you know when you're working, or you look at the work schedule. But it's really nice to know that on a specific day, I have
you
this
just
much
take
time.
a guess.
But I also would, like Tanner, have started doing a sleep routine. It's not a strict one, but I try to go to bed before midnight every single night. That way I normally get up around 8 or 9. I get the full 8 hours that I need. If I stay up a little bit past midnight, I maybe sleep in a little bit more, but I used to sleep in really late and it was really bad. And then I'd stay up super late and then it was just a cycle. And then feeding caffeine into all of that, it becomes this horrible thing of staying up late and you can't fall asleep, and then being tired all day because you didn't get enough sleep or you slept in late, and then, get more caffeine. So I broke that, and now I go to sleep by a certain time, and that helps as well.
So with my sleep schedule, like you said, I don't keep to a super strict sleep schedule, but I set it in my calendar so I have a goal, because I know I need a lot of sleep. Realistically, I probably need about 10 hours of sleep, which kind of sounds like a lot, but when you're going to school full time and working part time, like, you really need all those hours. And I always try to go to bed by at least midnight. Lately, it has not been happening, but I think because we've been home, it's a little different than like having to commute to school and actually be there in person. A thing that helped with fixing my sleep schedule was actually on the iPhone. They have this thing called bedtime, and you can actually set different days of the week to wake up at different times. And it actually will remind you when you should go to sleep, or at least get in bed. Like, I used to set it so that it would remind me that I should get in bed by 11 and that I should be in bed so that usually in an hour I'd take to fall asleep. And then I'd fall asleep by 12, and then I'd wake up at like 8:30. And so that's kind of how different like sleep scheduling has helped me. But I don't necessarily if I'm hanging out with someone and then like my phone's like, you have to be in bed by 11, I'm not just going to be like, all right, I got to go. My phone's telling me I got to go to sleep.
Yeah.
What was the name of that app?
It's called Bedtime. It's in the Clock app. So it's actually integrated into the phone.
Because I also used to use an app. I still have it. I don't use it as much as I used to. But it's called Sleep Cycle. And it was kind of similar where but the difference is it would track your sleep every night. So whenever you'd wake up, it would show you a graph of like kind of the quality of sleep you had, and it gave you a score out of 100. It was really interesting to seeing the graph. It would level the different stages of sleep you're in, so how deep of sleep you're in pretty much. And normally someone's graph will be going up and down throughout the whole night, like a roller coaster, just because they'll be in different stages of their sleep. It was really interesting just watching that and seeing it, because there'd be days where if I know I didn't get a lot of sleep, or if I, consumed some sort of liquid and my sleep was affected in some way, it would on the graph would look completely different. It would be like flat line, like as if I was dead, and I'd be like, holy crap, dude. So it was really interesting. It's a really cool and interesting app.
So does it use like noise and how often you pick up your phone?
Pretty much, yeah. So you just turn it on right before you're about to go to bed, and it starts tracking it. It can play stuff to help you go to bed as well, and there's like a nice alarm to it as well, a more cozy kind of waking up alarm. But yeah, it kind of goes based off noise. It even tracks like how much you snored that day or that night.
I have yet to set up bedtime, but it's something that I was looking into as well. Yeah.
But wait, actually, real quick, we kind of just glossed over something real quick. 10 hours.
I was gonna say,
dude.
I feel really exhausted
that's
if I sleep for
ridiculous.
10 hours. Like I can't sleep too little, and I can't sleep too much.
Like I said, I slept 4 hours last night, and I don't like taking naps. So if I slept 4 hours, I slept 4 hours. I'll make it up another night. But like maybe I'll lay down for like half hour, just like rest my body. But I won't take like a nap.
It surprisingly works. Yesterday that happened for me. I got 4 hours of sleep yesterday. I worked a opening shift, and in the afternoon I ended up laying down for 30 minutes, and it helped me feel more awake when I was ready to go. I ended up not taking a nap though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there was a time when I was working out a lot, and I was measuring I kept testing how well I would function the next day after different amounts of sleep. So I would like set my alarm for different times kind of each night. And basically, my best performance would be between 8 to 10 hours. So like 10 hours being like on a weekend, 8 hours being during the week.
That makes sense. Wow. One other thing that I like to use to provide structure is journal or take notes. And it's something that I'm able to do on all of my devices and on paper. It's really hard to transcribe things from your notebook if you have 100 pages of drawings and ideas and notes and then get them onto your phone or your laptop. But there is the benefit of having a cloud-based note-taking app that you can work on wherever you are. I like to write lyrics and such on the phone, on the go, or on my laptop, and then I'll be able to access them later anywhere. It helps with when you do have that inspiration or that idea, getting it down and then retaining it and being able to find it later, so long as you don't have an unorganized system within the app that you use. But that's another way that I've been able to kind of control the creative flow.
Yeah, honestly, man, thinking about it, like I think routine also goes hand in hand with like structure, where instead of having a dedicated schedule for moments, if your schedule doesn't change too often, getting yourself into a routine is kind of like the same thing, where it's like if you need to do all these stuff a certain time of day consistently over a long period of time, then a routine would be like that. I don't know, just something I thought about.
Totally. Yeah, routine's huge. Routine is enormous.
To wrap up, I wanted to ask all of you what some of your short-term and long-term goals are in life. Tanner, what about you?
So I guess I'll start with my long-term, because I've been thinking about that lately because I've been applying to like different internships. So I go to school and I'm studying physics. So I'm studying to become a physicist. Shocker. And so right now, my long-term goal is to get into work in quantum computing. It really fascinates me. So I just started reading some textbooks on quantum computing and quantum information. And I've started reading quantum mechanics textbooks just so I can try to get an understanding and get a little bit ahead, because those are typically graduate study classes. And I'm not there yet. I am in my last year, but I do have to start thinking about my direction because I haven't really had one. And, I was trying to think like, go into some research or do this or that in physics, but I really wasn't sure because there's all these different fields. There's like condensed matter, there's theoretical physics and like all different types of fields. There's like particle physics, and I was like, all of it seems really cool, but I don't know what I wanted to do. And I know I'm really interested in computer science, so I was like, okay, I think quantum computing will be a good starting ground, and I'll start doing research on it to see if I like it. So my goal right now is to get into graduate school with most likely a master's right now because I don't have like a super competitive GPA. And then I'm going to start taking courses to try to get closer to that goal. And hopefully, maybe one day I'll have a PhD where I'm either working in a quantum computing lab or ultimate dream, I would start my own, but I have no idea how that would work.
Yeah. Google is making great strides with quantum computing, I've seen. And I haven't learned enough about it to really explain it myself, but they have made some big improvements on how fast the computers can compute, I think, or how to use them in a new way.
Yeah, it's really difficult to explain.
So long-term and short-term goals. I mean, so short-term wise, like I've said, like, I program, I've done some computer science when I was in college. Right now, I'm kind of like independently, like just learning it on my own. So there's a lot of like great free resources online I've been going through. I guess like my short-term goal is just like, I feel like a lot of college students' short-term goal, and that's just simply getting a job, like being financially independent, things like that. And so that's, I guess, the way or the direction I'm going in. And like long-term wise, past that, I don't really have that like super plan. Like I know roughly what I want to do and what I want to achieve by then, but I always feel like life is so complicated. It's like you don't need a plan like every single step or something. So it's like I try not to think about it. Who knows where I'm going to be at 1 year from now, 3 years from now, 8 years from now. So yeah, that's my general outlook on that.
Anthony?
Totally. Yeah, I mean, very similar. Short-term goals, I am, in my last year of college as industrial engineering major. So I'm looking around, applying to different places, and I want to still, so the thing with industrial engineering is that it's a mixture of the technical side of engineering and the social side of like business. You're doing a lot, you're interacting a lot with other engineers, collaborating on projects, and it's all about like efficiency and working on projects to make and streamline different processes. And I think it's very interesting to look at the big picture of different things. However, I do like the idea of technical sales, the idea of you're dealing with these engineering-based products and you're trying to, market them and connect them to different places out there. So I've been looking at different companies for that kind of thing, and there's a few that I've applied to and waiting to hear back from. So short-term goal is to just, get something out. So short-term goal would be find somewhere to be. I'm not really big on the location. Like that's not the biggest priority to me on where I am. This place it would be nicer to be, but it's not a deal breaker on different locations. And in fact, sales, a reason why I want to go into sales is because there's a big travel component for most jobs where it could be overseas or just in the country, which is, the two birds with one stone the way I look at it. I get to travel, which would be something fun that I'm sure everyone wants to do. I know right now probably the word traveling is just has an asterisk on it, but still, nonetheless, I still would like to travel.
Yeah, me as well.
Long-term goals, though. Long-term goals have bounced around with the idea for a little while, and it is always something that's ever changing. But I mean, 5-10 years down the road, I think it would be, by that point, I hope I would have developed my technical career enough to where I can fund my own side projects. What that is exactly, I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to dive fully into just content creation in some form, if I want to start my own kind of business in some way or form, but definitely using my degree to fund my own personal project.
Yeah. For me, I have the short-term goal, I would say, of releasing some form of album from my music. I would really like to get something like that done within the year. in life goals, I'm going to be moving out this year as well. So that's a big change for me. And then I would say long-term
Yes,
goals.
sir. Yes.
I would really love to play and perform at this festival called Desert Days in Southern California. It was a transformative experience when I went, and there's a lot of really unique stuff happening there, and it would be really cool to share my stuff, my art and my music with people there, and also like video synthesis and all sorts of weird visuals and videos and paintings and all of that. There's a lot you can do there. Yeah. Well, I think that wraps all of that up.
Definitely. Good talk. Good talk.
Overall, I think that there are a lot of tools that you can use to get out of creative block. I think routine is really strong and structure is powerful to helping you achieve your goals with applying your ideas creatively and all of that. And yeah, you just got to keep on pushing through. Like Tanner said, it's hard sometimes, but if you do, you end up getting some diamonds in the rough.
And working on projects to make efficiency like business is enormous.
Ever since high school, I have just stopped caring about what I do on a daily basis. I just kind of go through everything. I just kind of do it whenever I want to. And then sometimes I get to it, other times I don't.
And he likes to figure out and exploit those rules to figure out the best outcome.